Hey crew, it's Bit, and I'm back with some more ancient lore. Today we are going to be diving back into the Epic of Gilgamesh. We're going to be picking up at Tablet 5 because we left off at Tablet 4, and we're going to go until I run out of voice. Let's dig into Tablet 5. They stood they stood at the forest edge, gazing at the top of the cedar tree, gazing at the entrance to the forest. Where Humbaba would walk, there was a trail. The roads led straight on, the path was excellent. Then they saw the cedar mountain, the dwelling of the gods, the throne dais of Emini. Across the face of the mountain, the cedar brought forth luxurious foliage. Its shade was good, extremely pleasant. The thorn bushes were matted together. The woods were a thicket among the cedars. The boxwood. The forest was surrounded by a ravine 2 leagues long, and again for 2/3 of that distance. Suddenly the swords, and after the sheaths, the axes were smeared, dagger and sword, alone. Humbaba spoke to Gilgamesh, saying, "He does not come." Enlil. Enkidu spoke to Humbaba, saying, "Humbaba, one alone." Strangers. A slippery path is not feared by two people who help each other. Twice, 3 times. A 3-ply rope cannot be cut. The mighty lion, 2 cubs can roll him over. Humbaba spoke to Gilgamesh, saying, "An idiot and a moron should give advice to each other. But you, Gilgamesh, why have you come to me? Give advice, Enkidu, you son of a fish, who does not even know his own father. To the large and small turtles, which do not suck their mother's milk. When you were still young, I saw you and did not go over to you, you in my belly. You have brought Gilgamesh into my presence. You stand, an enemy, a stranger. Gilgamesh, throat and neck. I would feed your flesh to the screeching vulture, the eagle, and the vulture." Gilgamesh spoke to Enkidu, saying, "My friend, Humbaba's face keeps changing." And Enkidu spoke to Gilgamesh, saying, "Why, my friend, are you whining so pitiably, hiding behind your whimpering? Now there, my friend, in the coppersmith's channel. Again to blow the bellows. For an hour, the glowing metal. For an hour. To send the flood, to crack the whip. Do not snatch your feet away, do not turn your back. Strike even harder. May they be expelled." Head fell, and he confronted him. The ground split open with the heels of their feet. As they whirled around in circles, Mount Hermon and Lebanon split. The white clouds darkened. Death rained down on them like a fog. Shamash rained up against Humbaba. Mighty tempests. South wind, north wind, east wind, west wind, whistling wind, piercing wind, broken wind, demon wind, ice wind, storm, sandstorm. 13 winds rose up against him, and he covered Humbaba's face. He could not butt through the front and could not scramble out the back, so that Gilgamesh's weapons were in reach of Humbaba. Humbaba begged for his life, saying to Gilgamesh, "You are young yet, Gilgamesh. Your mother gave birth to you, and you are the offspring of Remphan and Sun. It was at the word of Shamash, Lord of the Mountain, that you were roused to this expedition, O scion of the heart of Uruk, King Gilgamesh." Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh, let me go. I will dwell with you as your servant. As many trees as you command me, I will cut down for you. I will guard for you myrtle wood, wood fine enough for your palace. And Enkidu addressed Gilgamesh, saying, "My friend, do not listen to Humbaba." 10 lines are missing. Apparently, Humbaba sees that Gilgamesh is influenced by Humbaba, or is influenced by Enkidu. Sorry. "You understand the rules of my forest, the rules. Further, you are aware of all the things so ordered by Enlil. I should have carried you up and killed you at the very entrance to the branches of my forest. I should have fed your flesh to the screeching vulture, the eagle, and the vulture. So now, Enkidu, clemency is up to you. Speak to Gilgamesh to spare my life." And Enkidu addressed Gilgamesh, saying, "My friend, Humbaba, guardian of the cedar forest, grind up, kill, pulverize, and destroy him. Humbaba, guardian of the forest, grind up, kill, pulverize, and destroy him. Before the preeminent god Enlil hears and hears, and the gods be filled with rage against us. Enlil is in Nippur, Shamash is in Sapar, erect an eternal monument proclaiming how Gilgamesh killed Humbaba. When Humbaba heard about 10 lines are missing, the forest, the denunciations have been made. But you are sitting there like a shepherd, and like a hireling of his mouth. Now, Enkidu, clemency is up to you. Speak to Gilgamesh that he may spare my life. And Enkidu spoke to Gilgamesh, saying, My friend, Humbaba, guardian of the forest, grind up, kill, pulverize, and destroy him. Before the preeminent god Enlil hears, and the gods are full of rage at us. Enlil is in Nippur, Shamash is in Sapar. Erect an eternal monument proclaiming how Gilgamesh killed Humbaba. Humbaba heard, about 10 lines are missing. May he not live longer of the two. May Enkidu not have any share more than his friend, Gilgamesh. Enkidu spoke to Gilgamesh, saying, My friend, I have been talking to you, but you have not been listening to me. You have been listening to the curse of Humbaba. His friend, by his side. They pulled out his insides, including his tongue. He jumped. Abundance fell over the mountain. Abundance fell over the mountain. They cut through the cedar. While Gilgamesh cut down the trees, Enkidu searches through the Urmazalu. Enkidu addressed Gilgamesh, saying, My friend, we have cut down the towering cedar whose top scrapes the sky. Make from it a door, 72 cubits high and 24 cubits wide. 1 cubit thick, its fixture, its lower and upper pivots, will be out of one piece. Let them carry it to Nippur. The Euphrates will carry it down. Nippur will rejoice. They tied together a raft. Enkidu steered it, while Gilgamesh held the head of Humbaba. And so ends tablet number 5. It is incredibly frustrating that there is so much of this story that is missing, right? Is left out. As to be expected, it is around 3,500 to 4,000 years old. It is one of the oldest writings, if not the oldest writing. I think that the Enuma Elish might actually be older, but not by a whole lot, right? There's not a whole lot of anything older than 6,000 years old at all on the planet, and there are reasons for that. Basically, this was telling the story of how they confronted Humbaba and bested Humbaba, and that the clemency was left up to Enkidu, and he said no. Kill him, grind him up, pulverize him. Now, the symbology of Humbaba may be a known thing then that is lost now. It may have been an actual creature. It could be all types of different possibilities, and I'm not even going to speculate on which one it is. This is, again, reading this for the record so that I personally have read through it, and I know that I know at least what I know. So, let's dig into tablet number 6. He washed out his marred hair and cleaned up his equipment, shaking out his locks down over his back, throwing off his dirty clothes and putting on clean ones. He wrapped himself in regal garments and fastened the sash. When Gilgamesh placed his crown on his head, a princess, Ishtar, raised her eyes to the beauty of Gilgamesh. Come along, Gilgamesh. Be you my husband. To me grant your lusciousness. Be you my husband, and I will be your wife. I have harnessed for you a chariot of lapis lazuli and gold, with wheels of gold and horns of electrum. It will be harnessed with great storming mountain mules. Come into our house with the fragrance of cedar, and when you come into our house, the doorpost and the throne dais will kiss you. Bowed down before you will be kings, lords, and princes. The Lulbu people will bring you the produce of the mountains and countryside. Your she-goats will bear triplets, your ewes twins. Your family under burden will overtake the mule. Your steed at the chariot will be bristling to gallop. Your ox at the yoke will have no match. And Gilgamesh addressed the princess Ishtar, saying, What would I have to give you if I married you? Do you need oil or garments for your body? Do you lack any food or I will gladly feed you food fit for a god. I would gladly give you wine fit for a king. May the street be your home. May you be clothed in a garment. And may any lusting man marry you. An oven, who, ice, a half open door that keeps out neither breeze nor blast, a palace that crushes down valiant warriors, an elephant who devours its own covering, a pitch that blackens the hands of its bearers, a waterskin that soaks its bearer through, limestone that buckles out the stone wall, a battering ram that attracts the enemy land, a shoe that bites its own feet. Where are your bridegrooms that you keep forever? Where is your little shepherd bird that went up over you? See, here now, I will recite the list of your lovers. On the shoulder, his hand, Tammuz, the lover of your earliest youth. For him you have ordained lamentations year upon year. You loved the colorful little shepherd bird, and then hid him, breaking his wings, so now he stands in the forest crying, my wing, my wing. You loved the supremely mighty lion, yet you dug for him 7 and again 7 pits. You loved the stallion famed in battle, yet you ordained him for him the whip, the goad, and the lash. Ordained for him to gallop for 7 and 7 hours. Ordained for him drinking from muddled waters. You ordained for his mother Silili to wail continually. You loved the shepherd, the master herder, who continually presented you with bread baked in embers, and who daily slaughtered for you a kid. Yet you struck him and turned him into a wolf. So his own shepherds now chase him, and his own dogs snap at his shins. You loved Ishalunu, your father's date gardener, who continually brought you baskets of dates and brightened your table daily. You raised your eyes to him, and you went to him. O my Ishalanu, let us taste of your strength. Stretch out your hand to me and touch our vulva. Ishalanu said to you, Me, what is it you want from me? Has my mother not baked, and have I not eaten, that I should now eat food under contempt and curses, and that alfalfa grass should be my only cover against the cold? As you listened to these words, you struck him, turning him into a dwarf, and made him to live in the middle of the garden of his labors, where the mehu do not go up, nor the buckets of dates down. And now me, it is me you love, and you will ordain for me as for them? When Ishtar heard this, in a fury she went up to the heavens, going to Anu her father and crying, going to Anram her mother and weeping. Father, Gilgamesh has insulted me over and over. Gilgamesh has recounted despicable deeds about me, despicable deeds and curses. Anu addressed Princess Ishtar, saying, What is the matter? Was it not you who provoked Gilgamesh? So Gilgamesh recounted despicable deeds about you, despicable deeds and curses. Ishtar spoke to her father Anu, saying, Father, give me the bowl of heaven, so he can kill Gilgamesh in his dwelling. But if you do not give me the bowl of heaven, I will knock down the gates of the netherworld. I will smash the doorpost and leave the doors down flat down. I will let the dead go up and eat the living, and the dead will outnumber the living. Anu addressed Princess Ishtar, saying, If you demand the bowl of heaven from me, there will be 7 years of empty husks for the land of Uruk. Have you collected grain for the people? Have you made grasses grow for the animals? Ishtar addressed Anu, her father, saying, I have heaped grain in the granaries for the people. I made grasses grow for the animals, in order that they might eat for 7 years of empty husks. I have collected grain for the people. I have made grasses grow for the animals. When Anu heard her words, he placed the nose rope of the bowl of heaven in her hands. Ishtar led the bowl of heaven down to the earth. When it reached Uruk, it climbed down to the Euphrates. At the snort of the bowl of heaven, a huge pit opened up, and 100 young men of Uruk fell in. At his second snort, a huge pit opened up, and 200 men of Uruk fell in. At his third snort, a huge pit opened up, and Enkidu fell in up to his waist. Then Enkidu jumped out, and seized the bull of heaven by its horns. The bew spewed his spittle in front of him. With his thick tail he flung his dung behind him. Enkidu addressed Gilgamesh, saying, "My friend, we can be bold. How shall we respond?" "My friend, I saw, and my strength. I will rip out. I and you, we must share. I shall grasp the bull. It will fill my hands in front. Between the nape, the horns, and thrust your sword." Enkidu stalked and hunted down the bull of heaven. He grasped it by the thick of its tail and held onto it with both his hands, while Gilgamesh, like an expert butcher, boldly and surely approached the bull of heaven. Between the nape, the horns, and he thrust his sword. After they had killed the bull of heaven, they ripped out its heart and presented it to Shamash. They withdrew, bowing and down humbly to Shamash, and then the brothers sat down together. Ishtar went up onto the top of the wall of Uruk Haven, cast herself into the pose of mourning, and hurled her woeful curse. "Woe unto Gilgamesh, who slandered me and killed the bull of heaven." And when Enkidu heard this pronouncement of Ishtar, he wrenched off the bull's hindquarter and flung it in her face. "If I could only get at you, I would do the same to you. I would drape his innards over your arms." Ishtar assembled the cultic women of lovely locks, joy girls, and harlots, and set them to mourning over the hindquarters of the bull. Gilgamesh summoned all the artisans and craftsmen. All the artisans admired the thickness of its horns, each fashioned from 30 minas of lapis lazuli, 2 fingers thick as their casing. 6 vats of oil, the contents of the 2, he gave as ointment to his personal god, Lugal Banda. He brought the horns in and hung them in the bedroom of the family head. They washed their hands in the Euphrates and proceeded hand in hand, striding through the streets of Uruk. The men of Uruk gathered together, staring at them. Gilgamesh said to the palace retainers, "Who is the bravest of men? Who is the boldest of the males?" "Gilgamesh is the bravest of the men, the boldest of the males. She, at whom we flung the hindquarters of the bull of heaven in anger, Ishtar has no one that pleases her in the street." Gilgamesh held a celebration in his palace. The young men dozed off, sleeping on the couches of the night. Enkidu was sleeping and had a dream. He woke up and revealed his dream to his friend. And so ends Tablet 6. And what we got here is a roast of the goddess Ishtar. Now, I don't know exactly how we will, but I do plan on going into the story of Ishtar. I'm not sure exactly how we're going to format that, but it's interesting to note it mentioned here that she had several lovers to whom she betrayed, right? She sold into service in various ways, and Gilgamesh was like, "Nah, not me, fam. You're nasty. Don't play with me. Get away from me." Like, he roasted her for a solid minute for the beginning, right? And like, he listed out her stuff, and then she got mad at him because he listed out the things that she did. So she goes, runs to Daddy, and she's like, "Daddy, I need your super powerful weapon because this dude just called me out for all the things that I actually did. He said them out loud, and now everybody knows." And it's like, "Yeah, but didn't you do them?" And he's like, "Yeah, but I still need the bull." So he gives her the bull, and then they kill the bull. Now the bull could be symbology. This is one of those conspiracy things, right? So take from it what you will. But if you were unaware of archaics, he's got this whole simulacrum thing, process, whatever it happens to be. I'm not like, I'm still investigating it. I haven't dismissed it out of hand, although he is definitely wrong on some points. But he has an idea about this thing in the heavens that is summonable and that it does things similar in nature to what is described here, as well as like worldwide cataclysms and discretionary sides. And so I'm not fully convinced on that, but it is an interesting thing to kick around when you see evidence like this, so I want to point it out. This could be the natural cycle of things. I believe that what happens, right, we have a whole cycle of destruction and rebirth and renewal, and Then there's another cycle of destruction, and it happens about every 6,000 years. There's a wet one, then a hot one, and then a wet one, and then a hot one. It's like a wave pattern. It goes up and down. There is a golden age that happens after the hot one for sure, but probably somewhat after the cold one as well. And so the flood, which is referenced in these tablets, was 6,000 years ago, roughly, and that was one of the wet ones. And we've got one coming up probably in the next 30 or 40 years. Maybe sooner, maybe later. Who knows? I'm not setting dates. But it is entirely possible that it is around the 2040 to 2047 timeline that Jason over at Archaics is putting out. So, again, something to point out. But I believe that this pattern is predictable and traceable and all those things. We talk about it plenty in other places, but I think we will see it. And it may come from the constellation of Taurus. Maybe that's where this particular thing came from. The slaying of the bull. Like, it could look like a bull. It could be a literal bull. It could be a whole myriad of things that we will never know for sure, regardless of what we read. Okay, I think that covered everything I wanted to cover from that one. So, Tablet 7. My friend, why are the great gods in conference? In my dream, Anu, Enlil, and Shamash held a council, and Anu spoke to Enlil. Because they killed the bull of heaven, and have also slain Humbaba, the one of them who pulled up the cedar of the mountain must die. And Enlil said, let Enkidu die, but Gilgamesh must not die. Bur, the sun god of heaven, replied to valiant Enlil. Was it not at my command that they killed the bull of the heaven and Humbaba, part of the story that we missed? Should now innocent Enkidu die? And then Enlil became angry at Shamash, saying, it is you who are responsible because you traveled daily with them as their friend. Enkidu was lying sick in front of Gilgamesh, his tears flowing like canals. He, Gilgamesh, said, oh brother, dear brother, why are they absolving me instead of my brother? And then Enkidu said, so now must I become a ghost, to sit with the ghost of the dead, to see my dear brother nevermore. In the cedar forest, where the great gods dwell, I did not kill the cedar, Enkidu addressed Gilgamesh, saying to Gilgamesh his friend, come, friend. The door. Enkidu raised his eyes and spoke to the door as if it were human. You stupid wooden door, with no ability to understand. Already at 10 leagues, I selected the wood for you, until I saw the towering cedar. Your wood was without compare in my eyes. 72 cubits was your height, 14 your width, 1 cubit your thickness. Your doorpost, pivot stone, and post cap. I fashioned you, and I carried you to Nippur. Had I known, O door, that this would be your gratitude, and this your gratitude, I would have taken an axe and chopped you up, and lashed your planks into. In its I erected thee, and in Uruk they heard. But yet, O door, I fashioned you, and I carried you to Nippur. May a king who comes after me reject you. May the god, may he remove my name and set his own name there. He ripped out, threw down. He, Gilgamesh, kept listening to his words and retorted quickly. Gilgamesh listened to the words of Enkidu, his friend, and his tears flowed. Gilgamesh addressed Enkidu, saying, friend, the gods have given you a mind broad, and, though it behooves you to be sensible, you keep uttering improper things. Why, my friend, does your mind utter improper things? The dream is important, but very frightening. Your lips are buzzing like flies. Though there is much fear, the dream is very important. To the living, they, the gods, leave sorrow. To the living, the dream leaves pain. I will pray and beseech the great gods. I will seek and appeal to your God. Enlil, the father of the gods. Enlil, the counselor. You. I will fashion a statue of you, of gold, without measure. Do not worry. Gold. What Enlil says is not. What he has said cannot go back. Cannot. What he has laid down cannot go back. Cannot. My friend, of fate goes to mankind. Just as dawn began to glow, Enkidu raised his head and cried out to Shamash. At the first gleam of the sun, his tears poured forth. I appeal to you, O Shamash, on behalf of my precious life. Because of that notorious trapper who did not let me attain the same as my friend, may the trapper not get enough to feed himself. May his profit be slashed and his wages decrease. May be his share before you. May he not enter, but go out of it like vapor. After he had cursed the trapper to his satisfaction, his heart prompted him to curse the harlot. Come now, harlot, I am going to decree your fate, a fate that will never come to an end for eternity. I will curse you with a great curse, and may my curses overwhelm you suddenly, in an instant. May you not be able to make a household, and not be able to love a child of your own. May you not dwell in the of girls. May dregs of beer stain your beautiful lap. May a drunk soil your festal robe with vomit. The beautiful of the potter. May you never acquire anything of bright alabaster. May the judge, may shining silver, man's delight, not be cast into your house. May a gateway be where you rake your pleasure. May a crossroad be your home. May a wasteland be your sleeping place. May the shadow of the city be your place to stand. May the thorns and briars sink in your feet. May both the drunk and the dry slap you on the cheek. In your streets, may owls nest in the cracks of your walls. May no parties take place present. And your filthy lap may be his, because of me, while I, blameless, you have against me. When Shamash heard what his mouth had uttered, he suddenly called out to me from the sky, Enkidu, why are you cursing the harlot Shamhat, she who fed you bread fit for a god, who gave you wine fit for a king, she who dressed you in grand garments, and she who allowed you to make beautiful Gilgamesh your comrade? Now, Gilgamesh is your beloved brother friend. He will have you lie on a grand couch, while will have you lie on a couch of honor. He will seat you in the seat of ease, the seat at his left, so that the princes of the world would kiss your feet. He will have the people of Uruk go into mourning and moaning over you. Will fill the happy people with woe over you, and after you he will let his body bear a filthy mat of hair, will don the skin of a lion and roam the wilderness. As soon as Enkidu heard the words of valiant Shamash, his agitated heart grew calm, his anger abated. Enkidu spoke to the harlot, saying, Come, Shamhat, I will decree your fate for you. Let my mouth, which has cursed you, now turn to bless you. May governors and nobles love you. May he who is 1 league away bite his lip in anticipation of you. May he who is 2 leagues away shake out his locks in preparation. May the soldier not refuse you, but undo his buckle for you. May he give you rock crystal, lapis lazuli, and gold. May his gift to you be earrings of filigree. May his supplies be heaped up. May he bring you into the of the gods. May the wife, the mother of 7 children, be abandoned because of you. Enkidu's innards were churning, lying there so alone. He spoke everything he felt, saying to his friend, Listen, my friend, to the dream that I had last night. The heavens cried out, and the earth replied, and I was standing between them. There appeared a man of dark visage. His face resembled the Anzu. His hands were the paws of a lion, his nails the talons of an eagle. He seized me by my hair and overpowered me. I struck him a blow, but he skipped about like a jump rope. And then he struck me and capsized me like a raft, and trampled on me like a wild bull. He encircled my whole body in a clamp. Help me, my friend, I cried, but you did not rescue me. You were afraid and did not. Then he, and turned me into a dove, so that my arms were feathered like a bird. Seizing me, he led me down to the house of darkness, the dwelling of Erkala, to the house where those who enter do not come out, along the road of no return, to the house where those who dwell do without light, where dirt is their drink and their food is of clay, where, like a bird, they wear garments of feathers and light cannot be seen. They dwell in the dark, and upon the door and bolt, there lies dust. On entering the house of dust, everywhere I looked, there were royal crowns gathered in heaps. Everywhere I listened, it was the bearer of crowns, who in the past had ruled the land, but who now served Anu and Enlil, cooked meats, served confections, and poured cool water from waterskins. In the house of dust that I entered, there sat the high priest and acolyte. There sat the purification priest and ecstatic. There sat the anointed priest of the Greek gods. There sat Etana. There sat Sumukan. There sat Ereshkigal, the queen of the netherworld. Belitesari, the scribe of the netherworld, knelt before her. She was holding the tablet and was reading it out to her Ereshkigal. She raised her head when she saw me. Who has taken this man? 50 lines are missing here. I, who went through every difficulty, remember me and forget? Not all that I went through with you. My friend has had a dream that bodes ill. The day he had the dream came to an end. Enkidu lies down a first day, a second day, that Enkidu in his bed. A third day and fourth day, that Enkidu in his bed. A fifth and a sixth and a seventh, that Enkidu in his bed. An eighth, a ninth, a tenth, that Enkidu in his bed. Enkidu's illness grew ever worse. Enkidu drew up from his bed and called out to Gilgamesh, "My friend hates me," while he talked with me in Uruk, and as I was afraid of the battle, he encouraged me. My friend who saved me in battle has now abandoned me. I and you, about 20 lines are missing. At his noises Gilgamesh was roused. Like a dove he moaned, "May he not be held in death, O preeminent among men." To his friend I will mourn at his side. And so ends tablet number 7. I think we're on 7. And so this was recounting the death of Gilgamesh. There was another severe roasting, calling down of curses that was pretty terrible, right? Like some of the things was funny and would have been funny if it wasn't so serious. Like, may the briars be ground into your foot. Like, that was great stuff. That was somebody truly upset about the injustice, right? He wasn't the one that destroyed the cedar, but he's the one that's got to die because Enlil likes the other one. That's not fair. Of course he's going to be pissed. All right, we're going to do 8 and probably wrap up here. So, tablet 8. Just as the day began to dawn, Gilgamesh addressed his friend, saying, "Enkidu, your mother, the gazelle, and your father, the wild donkey, engendered you. 4 wild asses raised you on their milk, and the herds taught you all the grazing lands. May the roads of Enkidu to the cedar forest mourn you, and not fall silent night or day. May the elders of the broad city of Uruk mourn you. May the peoples who gave their blessing after us mourn you. May the men of the mountains and hills mourn you. May the pasture lands shriek in mourning as if it were your mother. May the cypress and the cedar which we destroyed in our anger mourn you. May the bear, hyena, panther, tiger, water buffalo, jackal, lion, wild bull, stag, ibex, and all the creatures of the plains mourn you. May the holy river Ulaja, along whose banks we grandly used to stroll, mourn you. May the pure Euphrates, to which we would libate water from our waterskins, mourn you. May the men of Uruk who we saw in our battle when you killed the bull of heaven, mourn you. May the farmer, who extols your name in his sweet work song, mourn you. May the of the broad city, who exalted your name, mourn you. May the herder, who prepared butter and light beer for your mouth, mourn you. May, who put ointments on your back, mourn you. May, who prepared fine beer for your mouth, mourn you. May the harlot, you rubbed yourself with oil and felt good, mourn you. May of the wife placed a ring on you, mourn you. May the brothers go into mourning over you like sisters, the lamentation priests. May their hair be shorn off on your behalf. Enkidu, your mother and your father are in the wastelands. I mourn you. Hear me, O elders of Uruk, hear me, O men. I mourn for Enkidu, my friend. I shriek in anguish like a mourner. You, axe at my side, so trusty in my hand, you, sword at my waist, shield in front of me. You, my festal garments, a sash over my loins. An evil demon appeared and took him away from me. My friend, the swift mule, fleet wild ass of the mountain, panther of the wilderness. Enkidu, my friend, the swift mule, fleet wild ass of the mountain, panther of the wilderness. After we joined together and went up into the mountain, fought the bull of heaven and killed it, and overwhelmed Humbaba, who lived in the cedar forest. Now, what is this sleep which has seized you? You have turned dark and do not hear me. But Enkidu's eyes do not move. He touched his heart, but it beat no longer. He covered his friend's face like a bride, swooping down over him like an eagle, and like a lioness deprived of her cubs. He keeps pacing to and fro. He shears off his curls and heaps them onto the ground, ripping off his finery and casting it away as an abomination. Just as day began to dawn, Gilgamesh, and issued a call to the land. You, blacksmith, you, lapidary, you, coppersmith, you, goldsmith, you, jeweler, create, my friend. Fashion a statue of him. He fashioned the statue of his friend, his features. Your chest will be of lapis lazuli. Your skin will be of gold. 10 lines are missing here. I had you recline on the great couch. Indeed, on the couch of honor I let you recline. I had you sit in the position of ease, the seat at the left. So the princes of the world kissed your feet. I had the people of Uruk mourn and moan for you. I filled happy people with woe over you. And after you died, I let a filthy mat of hair grow over my body. I donned the skin of a lion and roamed the wilderness. And just as day began to dawn, he undid his straps. I, Carnelian. 85 lines are missing here. To my friend, your dagger. To Bibi. 40 lines are missing here. The judge of the Anunnaki. And when Gilgamesh heard this, the Zikru of the river he created. Just as day began to dawn, Gilgamesh opened, and brought out a big table of sissa wood. A carnelian bowl he filled with honey, a lapis lazuli bowl he filled with butter. He provided and displayed it before Shamash. All of the last column, some 40 to 50 lines, is missing here. And so we wrap up 8, right? That was 8? Yeah. We're going to hold off and finish up here because my voice is starting to give out, and I would hate for it to give out in the middle of a tablet. So this, again, is just about reading through it and pulling out what we can. He was calling for the lamentation of his friend, absolutely. There was some talk about the judgment of the Anunnaki, and I would very much be very pleased if we found more of that story. But there wasn't a whole lot here to really dig into and talk about a whole lot. It was mostly just reading for the record so that I have actually read it for myself, not just heard somebody else read it. The link will be provided down below so you can do the same if you are so inclined. I believe that the more knowledge that we all possess, the better off we all are, and that alternatives to history should be explored and kept within the realm of where they are. We cannot be firm about anything that is historical in the nature that it is not supported, and to do otherwise would be to be foolish. But it is equally foolish to just casually dismiss alternate accounts of things that may or may not have happened in history. So we will explore them as much as we possibly can. I think that the next part begins the story of the journey into the underworld, so it's a good place to stop. Hopefully I brought a little bit of enlightenment and not too much confusion to a not too complicated topic. There wasn't a whole lot for me to add. I don't have some deep thesis about this. It is just very interesting to me. So, to the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, I love you. God loves you. You are perfect, whole, and complete just the way that you are. And this has been Pit State. Peace.